to the Home and Away podcast. I'm Kaleb Lawrence, joined as always by my co-host and brother, Jacob Lawrence. Kabi, how we doing on this fine Sunday, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I can't complain, living life. I feel like I look a little rough right now, but our clocks did go forward in the middle of the night, and I was still awake. And so 2 a.m. turned to 3 a.m., which turned to 6 a.m. very quick. So you could say I was indeed up till 6 a.m. last night. So maybe that's why I look rough, but I feel great.
That's crazy. This will be a quick one today. Just wanted to hop on, give a couple updates. First thing is, for those of you who might notice that it's the same background, the plan was for Cobb to be traveling back to the States last week. Didn't happen. So we still wanted to get out 2 pods this week, although one's probably going to be about 15 minutes or so. But just wanted to get it out there and kind of give an update. I know people probably had some questions on you tweeting out that you were going to be back in the States and what that was all about. And I think the deep dive on that is for another podcast, but
yeah.
for now, if you just want to give like a quick update on everything that's going on with that and when you do plan on being back in the States.
So like you said, there's definitely a lot that has gone into these last couple weeks, this last month, really in general. It's been quite a roller coaster with not knowing what's going to go on, trying to decide if I'm going to come home or stay or what the word is. And then the club telling me, we're going to send you home this week, and then not getting sent home when I was waiting on a flight. So it's been a roller coaster, but on April 1st, I got a flight. So I'm actually flying home, flying from here to Paris to Atlanta to STL, and I'll be back in the States. It actually works out a little better this way with the travel time, because like all the other flights were like 33-hour travel days with like overnight layovers. So it was going to be a rough trip taking one of those other trips last week. But I mean, I was just excited to get back home. Honestly, I was just ready. I was ready to get back home, but I'll be back on Thursday night. So I'm excited to be back, and I can't wait, and got some more things in store for you guys on Thursday as well.
For sure. So yeah, like we said, he'll be home. A lot that went into it, and there'll definitely be a deep dive episode into that very soon, I would say.
Question.
Just want to make sure that we make it back safe and sound first. But once that is the case, then I think we go into that a little bit more. But we could just touch on a couple other things going on right now. I mean, mainly in the sports stratosphere, it's March Madness. It's been a very entertaining tournament, in my opinion, so far. Obviously, my bracket, if anybody, I'm assuming if you listen to this podcast, you listen to our other ones. So my bracket is absolute dog trash, but all my guys, after the first 2 days plus 1 game, all 4 of my Final Four teams were gone. So
all 4? Who was your 4th?
I had 3 teams lose in the first round. And then I had Illinois lose the first game of the second round.
Yeah, you had a team losing the playoff game, and I told you they were going to lose in the playoff game.
Yeah,
the playing game.
That's what happens. You get on these podcasts, and you just start going with stuff that you wish could maybe happen and think it might be cool. And then all of a sudden you're picking Michigan State and Virginia in the Final Four. And obviously Ohio State and Illinois, nobody really saw those coming to be out that early. But huge shout out to Oral Roberts, a team out of the Summit League. I've seen them play a few times this year, and they're a really exciting team to watch. I mean, just last night they lost to Arkansas in a game that they very easily could have won. And I think it would have been really exciting to see a 15 go to the Elite 8. Like, that would have been sweet. But an absolutely amazing run by them, and put a lot of guys on to Max Asmus and O'Banner, and those dudes can get after it. They can hoop.
Yeah, those dudes they go for sure. Shout out to the players and the team. Oral Roberts University as a whole, that's something for another day. But the university itself, we're okay on it. But for the team and the players, I mean, that's dope. And I guess it's not unprecedented because 15s have made it, like with Dunk City, with Florida Gulf Coast, they made it, and it was heartbreaking to see them lose last night to Arkansas. They were right there, man. But like Caleb said, my bracket is also busted. My bracket is toast. So I think I might have Caleb maybe beat a little bit right now, just because he has no Final Four teams left, and I think I had Michigan in my Final Four, and they're still alive. So um, one thing I will say is my prediction that I made. I said the Big Ten's the best conference in basketball. Blah blah blah. We said the Big Ten will show out. We were on the Big Ten. We were on the Big Ten heavy, and they have showed out in the opposite way that we thought. They have showed out in a negative way, and the Pac-12, which nobody assumed, the conference's champions, as Bill Walton would say, has been absolutely dominant. It has been incredible. That game between Loyola Chicago and Oregon State, I was really pulling for Loyola, but that Oregon State defense, man, is a problem. And I think like they could legitimately make the Final Four. I mean, that team just plays defense and they switch up the zone and the man-to-man, and it's gonna be a fun tournament to watch. And honestly, once I make these bracket picks, and I made a bracket pick here and I made a couple other brackets, but once the tournament actually starts, I always root for the underdog, no matter if I pick the upset or not. I root for the upset every single game, just because that's who I am.
Right. I'm rooting for the upset unless it's like a team that I really like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you obviously don't want
like
Florida.
The Gators. Like,
you don't want Florida to get upset or something. Like, I'm not a guy who wants Virginia to get upset. But other than that, like, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I want them to get beat by Oral Roberts. I don't care if they were in my Final Four. Like, sorry, Mark, but I just need that to happen. That's amazing. And it makes it way more exciting. Like, when we get to March, I just want mass chaos to happen. And this March has been like the epitome of that. I know things are like settling in some regions where 1 seeds are advancing and stuff like that. But overall, I think it's been just absolute chaos. And that's, I mean, if you're a fan of basketball, I think that's what you're looking for in March Madness, is to see these crazy rides.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about the game. And like with college basketball, it's just so much more unpredictable than the pros, I feel like, because these kids can just come out of nowhere and make a name for themselves in March and just show out. Like, obviously Asmus was the leading scorer in the country, and O'Banner was averaging like 19 in his own right. But without this tournament, nobody probably, they wouldn't have been a household name like they are now, And so it's awesome for those kids, and it's cool to see. And man, I don't even know, like, who do you think's winning the tournament? I think at this point, honestly, like, it has to be Gonzaga or Baylor to win it all.
To me, I'm taking Gonzaga. I mean, they've looked extremely impressive, right? People had questions people had questions about like, oh, they don't play anybody. The same stuff you say every year.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's the thing where it was with Virginia a couple years ago, right? It's until they win it, I'm not going to say they win it, is what a lot of people say, but like, they're too good to not get it done, in my opinion, eventually. So I think if any year, this is the year that they go ahead and get it done. And I mean, I'd be extremely excited to see that. Like I remember back in like middle school, we had some like Gonzaga shorts and stuff. So like Mark Few's a great coach. They're an exciting team to watch. I mean, they're like the epitome of like building a program the right way and having sustained success out of it. So I love to see that. And I know you touched on people building stock out of the tournament, and I don't think there's been anyone in the tournament building stock more than our guy Austin Reeves. I mean, he went from fringe possible draft pick to now they're looking at it being in the top 40, and that's an unreal jump. And a guy who like we've talked about before, we feel like there wasn't 60 guys that were draft eligible in college that were better than him, but to see him kind of getting that recognition and notoriety now to where it looks like he's very possibly is going to be an NBA draft pick is extremely exciting.
Yeah, and the thing about him is he's just like, he's such a cool dude, like down to earth, like great friend, like like if someone random met him and had no idea who he was, like would have probably no idea that, he could be a draft pick in this year's draft, that he was like a great basketball player the way he is. Um, you know, uh, it was sad to see him go down because, being roommates with his brother, with his older brother, Spencer, even whenever he was at Wichita and we were both at UCM, watched basically every single one of his games with Spencer. And then last year in Spain, me and Spencer played on the same team. And that was Austin's first year back because he had to take the year off and then came back. So I watched almost every single one of his games last year. We were staying up to like 5 to watch his games. Then this year, I can't lie, I didn't watch as many, but honestly, out of college basketball, they were the team I was watching the most out of anybody for sure. And so I'm just excited to see what the next step is for him. And like you said, he went from like 100 and something on like the draft rankings, like eligible players, to now I think he's like 40th. So that's a huge leap. And he finally got the respect we feel like he deserved. And maybe one day we'll get him on the pod to talk about it a little bit. But great kid, great player. Can't wait to see what happens for him. And I saw actually something that they ranked like the best defenders in college basketball, and Jalen Suggs was the #1 rated defender like in the country this year. And so I think that was part of maybe why they jumped him so high up on those boards, because he had 27 on, the best defender in the country per se. So, I mean, shout out to him. Shout out to Oklahoma, man. Hopefully next
Shout out
year
to
we can see Austin in an NBA jersey.
right. Shout out to Lon, ending a great career, a great run at Oklahoma for him. Former Illinois head coach. Congratulations on retirement. I know you'll probably never hear this. You don't know who we are at all, but congratulations on a great career.
Yep.
By all accounts, from what I've heard, one of the best people in college basketball. A guy who, like, very straightforward, like doesn't curse, super welcoming. One of the cool things about his program at Oklahoma is essentially every single one of their practices is open to the public, and very rarely, if ever, do you have that take place in college basketball. Everything's kind of hush hush and secret a little bit, and to be at a place like Oklahoma and just be like, yeah, anybody can come to our practices anytime is crazy. So I know when they made their Final Four run, he was continuing that back with Buddy Hield, and like they were having like hundreds and thousands of people showing up at their practices, like students to watch them practice. So and he just kind of welcomed it and took it in stride. So that's really cool, and good to see a guy like that have a good last season and kind of go out the right way.
Yeah, I think along with that, I think like, he would have the kids kind of go in and like thank the people for coming and stuff like that. And I don't know, that is a pretty dope thing. Like I love that about his program, and I hope to see that continue maybe with the next Oklahoma coach, or I would like to see more coaches do stuff like that, But like you said, it's hush hush. Nobody wants to give out their secrets. But at the end of the day, everybody knows what you're trying to do.
Right.
I mean, they know your game plan coming in. They know how you're going to play. So I mean, it is what it is. What it is. Honestly, if they see in practice or not, I don't think it's really the end of the world if they send a spy in. So
right. What one last thing I think we need to touch on tournament wise comes out of the Division II NCAA tournament. Northwest Missouri State absolutely routes who was a West Texas A&M.
Yeah, West Texas A&M.
And the Northwest Missouri State, man, is like, that is a different breed of college basketball, right? So that is a team that I would find to be legitimately competitive with. To be completely honest, this team this year, the majority of the teams in the Sweet 16, like I know people might think that's insane, but the way that they play, like they're never outside themselves at all, right? So like they're not a team that's going to just get completely overwhelmed by some of these guys. Like athletically, are they the same? No, they're not, but you don't have to necessarily have the same caliber of athlete to compete, because they know how to play. They play the right way. And like, they're so efficient and they play team defense so well that like, I don't think a lot of teams at the Division I level even see that. They scrap and they claw and they hit shots, and like every time you think you might have an inch on them, they just shut it down right away. It's insane. And to see them just go in and absolutely blow out the other team in the national championship really shows a mark of not only how good Division II college basketball is, because you do get teams like that, and it's not like, yeah, they've run through and won most of their games, but like they've also lost a couple games. So there are teams in Division II level that can beat them. And to show how good Division II basketball is, and especially them, they're an unreal brand of basketball, and they've been doing it for years now. It's not like it was a one-off thing.
Yeah, and being a UCM guy, repping my squad always. I think whenever you go to UCM, like like you're kind of told like that's like your rival or whatever, because I think maybe they're just the two biggest programs and the ones with the most recent success, with UCM having the 2014 national championship, and then with Northwest winning 3 out of the last 5. But honestly, whenever I was there, it wasn't much of a rivalry. It was more just us getting our heads bashed in a lot, so it kind of sucked. It sucked in that regard. The thing that just like annoys me about Division II basketball is that you have a team like Northwest and you have a conference like the MIAA that's, to me, the best conference in Division II basketball, hands down. And I don't even think it can be like argued now whenever you have Northwest beating Flagler by 30 and then beating West Texas A&M in the championship by 30. Like, I don't think it can be argued now that the MIAA is the best conference in basketball, because you look at Northwest, they got beat twice, I think, during the season, once in the regular season, once in the conference tournament by Washburn.
Right.
And that team didn't even make the Elite Eight because you know what? They have to play in the same region as Northwest, because that's how D2 works. So I think if you're looking at Division II basketball, a year like this year, especially, or even years in the past, whenever like, Missouri Southern had great teams and Washburn had the great team this year and Northwest is great as always, like you could be looking at like multiple teams probably from the MIAA in the Final Four if it was structured like the Division I tournament is, where anybody can go to any region. And I think it's just kind of sad that like a lot of those kids, and it speaks to the greatness of what they've built there at Northwest, that like a lot of those like teams, like the Washburn team this year, I mean, they could have been a national championship contender, but they never really had a shot to even go for it with Northwest being there. I mean, they beat them. Obviously, they felt like they could beat them again and win the regional, but it's just like hard. It's hard with them just having that reign of dominance, and it's unreal. And to me, they would be, like you said, some of these teams that are in the Sweet 16. There's no doubt in my mind that they're a better team than Oral Roberts. I mean, Oral Roberts had a great run and got hot at the right times. But if you look at their teams side by side, like matchups wise, to me, Northwest is better than Oral Roberts at almost every position. Like I don't know. So it's crazy to think about as a Division II team. And honestly, it's a program that I hope they stay Division II kind of, because that's kind of their niche and like where they belong, I feel like, and like where they're going to have a ton of success and be able to just dominate for years to come. But if they went to Division I think it's a team that could build themselves into a mid-major and become successful in not only basketball and football too. So it's crazy. I'm pissed. I'm still pissed about my sophomore year. We went 20-9, and we were the second ranked team in the MIAA. This is how disrespectful of the rest of the country is in the MIAA. We're the second ranked team in the MIAA. We have 9 losses, 20 wins. We make it to the conference tournament final and lose to Northwest. And that was our 9th loss on the season. 3 of our 9 losses on the season was to Northwest, and they went undefeated and won a natty that year. And they only put 1 MIAA team in the NCAA tournament. So for that, I'm still pissed at the NCAA committee, and that needs to change, because we definitely would have been a tournament team 2 years that I was at UCM if it was different.
Right. And so even expanding out of the MIAA, right, the Central region, I wish I could find the tweet because I saw it yesterday, but the Central region has won something insane. Like, I want to say it was like 5 out of the last 7 national championships, or 7 out of the last 9. Probably. Or something crazy like that. Because, I mean, the thing is, like, you get almost in the last, we'll say even the last 5 years, right? You get legitimate national championship matchups when you get Northern State from the Northern Sun playing Northwest Missouri State in
Yep.
like the round of 16 or whatever, right? So that's that's the Central Region tournament final, and those two teams would most likely be one seeds if the
Yeah.
seeding was done properly throughout the country, the way it is in the Division One level, like Division One level.
Yeah, I feel like if you look at Northwest games that they've had in the regional and then in the Elite Eight, like in the runs, I feel like the most competitive games they've had have been in the regional,
Yes,
like not even in the
yes.
Elite Eight. Like especially this year, they 30 ball the team in the Final Four, bro, and then 30 ball the team in the championship. Like that's just unreal.
Looking back, obviously this year you had Northwest. Last year, no tournament. Northwest would have won the tournament. Don't come at me saying anything different.
Yeah, they probably would have won it that year too. Even though, hey, you know who got them? You know who got them last year? You know
The
who got them
Mules,
last year?
the
You know who got them
Mules.
last year?
Yes, sir.
Got them last
Uh,
year, man.
year 2019, you had Northwest. 2018, you had Fair State, not out of the Central Region, but guess who was the runner-up? Northern State out of the Central
Yeah.
Region. 2017, you had Northwest. 2016, you had Augie out of the Central Region. Then 2015, you had Florida Southern, obviously not out of the Central. But then you had 2014 UCM. 2013, it's not a Central Region team, but it's another team out of the state of Missouri. You have Drury winning. So
Yeah.
I mean, the Midwest in general is unbelievable when it comes to college basketball. And I'll even say like the state of Missouri, there's such high quality teams. I believe Truman went to the Elite Eight this year. Like,
Yeah, they did.
It's unreal the quality of teams that you get coming out of the MIAA, the Central Region in general, the
GLVC.
GLVC. Like, it's very, very high quality basketball. And I think we had Coach Rich on early in the podcast, and his thing was like ask your low level, mid level Division One teams if they want to come play us in a game. The answer is probably going to be no. Like, I know even
Yeah.
when I was at Lindenwood, like we weren't a tournament team even. We had a chance at one point. Like we started the season really well and then fell off, but like nobody would play us in exhibition games because nobody wanted to play a team that was coached by Brad Soderberg, right? Like nobody wanted to score low and possibly lose a game because they couldn't score against the pack line. So like you get these extremely high level coaches, and no doubt about it, Benny Mack to me is a high level coach. He's like a high major coach to me. And the fact that he's still coaching Division II, unless it's the fact that he just loves Northwest and wants to keep winning championships, the fact that he's still in Division II is unbelievable.
Literally. Because to me too, is he's not only a good coach with the X's and O's and he runs the perfect sets for the guys that he has, but he also is incredible at building a program and building a culture, it seems like. Because the guys that he recruits literally are just they come in and, you know, they're maybe a little under recruited, maybe undersized, like Justin Pitts or like Trevor Hudgens, and they come in and they're just perfect for his system and exactly what he wants. And every single dude that he recruits just has a burner, I guess. Like it's just you have to have a burner to go to Northwest. So, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy the stuff that he's doing over there. And, you know, like I said, I used to be a hater, like in college, just because, you know, you're taught to hate him. But honestly, right now, I just got a lot of respect for him, and really just like makes me proud to be a part of that conference and just to be like associated with them in a way, even if it's a small way. Because man, the things that they're doing are unprecedented at any level of college basketball, really.
Absolutely. And the last thing I want to touch on before we go into just kind of wrapping this up or whatever is touching on one more D2 basketball thing, the level of Division II basketball, right? So a lot of people might think that high level Division II program might not translate well to the Division I level. And I think the perfect litmus test for this is Bellarmine, right? A very, very high level Division II program who made the switch to Division I this year. So in their transition year to Division I, they're playing in the ASUN. and let me give you a 14-8 overall record with a 10-3 conference record. Like that,
Yeah.
that says
First
a lot.
year as a Division I team.
Yeah, right. So it's not like they've been building this Division I roster. This is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the exact roster they brought over from Division II, and they go 10-3 in their
Recruits,
conference. Yeah, right. And they go 10-3 in their conference. So I don't want to hear any nonsense saying that Division II teams can't compete at the Division I level. And are they playing in the ACC? Absolutely not. Are they playing in the Big 12? No. But I mean, they're in a Division I conference, which some of y'all out there think is all that matters, right? And and they're smacking everybody, and they're again, for all intents and purposes, a Division II team. That's what they were for X amount of years leading up to this.
I think even if you look at a little bit of a better conference, like the Missouri Valley, which I mean had 2 tournament teams and like got a team that got an at-large bid this year in Drake. And then obviously had Loyola, who made it to Sweet 16. I think if you take Northwest team, their exact team right now, and implant them in the Missouri Valley Conference, there's no doubt in my mind they finished top 3.
No,
they're probably
no doubt.
They're maybe right behind. They're maybe right behind Drake and Loyola, or they're competing with those guys. In my opinion, just from watching both teams play a lot and seeing them play the last few years, there's no doubt in my mind. And if you really want to argue, I'll tell you this: just go look up whenever Northwest played Duke. What was that, last year? Right. In the exhibition game? Go look that up. And that was whenever Duke was actually, a decent team last year.
Right.
And I think
I
don't think they lost by that much. And I think Trevor Hudgens had like 26, and Coach K came out saying, this is a high major point guard. He's playing Division II right now. So, I mean, they've got the players and they've got the talent and they've got the coaching, and it's just things they've been doing is crazy. And, I'm still pulling for my UCM boys to get there one day. I got faith in them. I think it's going to take some time, but maybe one day, they'll be at that same level.
For sure. And I mean, again, we went a little longer than expected, but it's always fun to just get on and chop it up, especially some stuff we're passionate about. But that's all I got for today. Cobb, you had anything else before we took off?
No, that's all I got for today. I think this is coming out on Tuesday, and then keep your eyes peeled because Thursday we got a little MLB opening day special for you guys. It's been a little bit since we talked about baseball, but that was really fun. So that's coming Thursday. Be on the lookout. If you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Music. Give us a follow on our socials at Home and Away Podcast, and then on Twitter at Home Away Pod. Man, we're just having fun with it. We're trying to keep it going, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Sir, peace.